Okay, today we're going to be talking about two of Fender's most popular budget entry-level amplifiers, the venerable Champion 20 and the newer Mustang LT25. I'm going to be going over some of the similarities and differences, giving you some sound samples, both clean and dirty, and then giving you my final impressions. Okay, if you're not new to my channel, you know I'm a fan of the Champion series. I think they're very underrated. And people talk a lot about the Super Champ XD and the Super Champ X2. The Champions have the exact same digital engine as those Super Champs, minus the tubes. So you pay less and you get quite a bit of the same quality. You get excellent Fender amp models, few others that are serviceable, and some great effects. I wanted to see if the Mustang series, being a lot newer, would have really drastically improved on the digital modeling. So that's why I picked up this amp. So as you can see, they're about the same size, they're about the same price. You can pick up either for about $100 used on most days. They weigh about the same. They both have 8-inch speakers, 8-ohm 8-inch speakers, which incidentally, you can make a great difference in these amps by putting in a monster Celestion. This is the TF0818. I'll link the video that I put that speaker in the Champion 20 at the end of this video if you'd like to check that out. It makes a tremendous difference, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So with that, you really transform what has been marketed as a practice amp, a budget student amp, home amplifier, into something that can genuinely hang with a drummer and be brought to a small gig or a jam session. Other differences real quick, you get a few more amp models with the Mustang. You get a built-in tuner, which is pretty huge with the Mustang. You get access to a mid control through the menu, not through a dial, but through the editing. Don't have to hook it up to a computer to get that mid-range control. Again, not present at all on the Champion. And you get a lot more effects. And the effects are pretty darn good quality. So, for these two sound samples, I'm going to be doing the Fender Twin, the blackface Twin, just a classic Twin. A little delay and reverb, matching the levels up as best as possible for the two amps so you can get a good comparison. And then for the overdriven samples, I'm going to be using what Fender calls the burn amp model, and that is modeled on the drive channel of the Fender Supersonic. It's pretty much the best overdrive tone, I think, that's available in either one of these amplifiers. Okay, let's hear some sounds, and then on the other side, we'll talk about the verdict. Okay, so hopefully the sound quality was enough for you to hear what I could hear in the room. I use a Zoom IQ7 external microphone into an iPhone to record these videos. And as you might expect, the overdriven sounds in a cheap practice amp sound pretty bad, right? I mean, that was not great, right? So in terms of which of these sounds less bad for overdrive, I would say, in the room anyway, the Mustang. The Mustang also has a variety of overdrive pedals and distortion, like a rat, a blues driver, a clon, a fuzz, a big muff. You can actually get some kind of passable overdriven sounds, especially playing at low volume, you know, some 6 sustain and stuff. You know, that's entertaining. It's not going to sound like a real overdriven amp or like your analog drive pedals, obviously. But if you play clean most of the time, which is what I do, I think you can get some very serviceable sounds out of both of these amps. My opinion is the Champion sounds more like a real amp. In the room and in comparisons I've done, it sounds like a real amp. And if you spring for the extra money for the Super Champ that has tubes, Fender doesn't make it anymore, but you can find them used, the overdrive sounds more convincing on that amplifier. If all you're looking for is blackface Fender tones, you know, a nice twin and a nice Princeton specifically with some reverb and delay, I would go with the Champion. My quibbles with the Champion are inexplicable to me that you cannot run reverb and tremolo together on a Fender amplifier. That just makes no sense whatsoever. The tremolo on the Champion is actually better than on the LT25, but you can't run it with the reverb, making it basically useless in my opinion. Now, with the Mustang, if you want more options, you got to get this. If you want a built-in tuner, you got to get this. In terms of the options, you can run 4 effects at the same time. You've got a block for either compressor, overdrive, fuzz, whatever, dirt. You've got a block for modulation, so your tremolo, your chorus, flanger, phaser, etc. You've got a block for delay. You've got a block for reverb. There's like 5 different reverbs. They're all excellent. 2 delays, pretty good. Like I said, the tremolo, not as good on this as on the Champion. Don't get that. That's weird. The chorus is pretty good. And of course, this does have the USB. You can hook it up to the Fender Tone app on a Mac or a PC and do basically the same editing that you can do with this knob. So it's just more visual. It's just a bigger screen, and of course you get a keyboard to type your new patch name. You can of course store patches, which you can't do here. So in conclusion, I don't think you can really go wrong with either of these puppies. They do things a little bit differently. If you want more of a traditional amp experience, and I think a traditional amp sound, go with the Champion or spring a little bit more and get a Super Champ, which please Fender, update the Super Champ. Everyone loves the Super Champ, Fender. Update the damn Super Champ and make it so you can have reverb and tremolo at the same time, okay? Also figure out how to model Vox. Fender can't model Vox, I don't know why. Both of these have AC30 models that sound nothing like a Vox. Vox can model Fender. Fender, why can't you model Vox? That's a standing question. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.